founder of Alta Love, and I host this channel, obviously. Hi. And today I do want to, oh, hi, Scott. So I am broadcasting this to the Patreons, but I also felt like sharing it to the public on this occasion because it's a special event today. It's a great solar eclipse moving across the United States mainly, and it's crisscrossing through two other eclipse paths. So it's quite a monumental, I guess, omen, and yeah, reflective of I think radical changing times as well. So hi. There's lots of info. You can go to Ultra Love, you can subscribe. There's merchandise. You can grab a copy of my book. All the info is in the description, so feel free to check that out. And at the moment, I still do offer private readings, and you can work with me regularly with yoga, meditation, and breath work. I guess like coaching, but more like well-being, just yoga guidance, I suppose. So my intention with tarot, what we're going to do is just get a card pull on the eclipse energy. So we will look at the collective reading. Divine guidance and love and clarity is my intention with tarot. I think it's important for readers to remind you to take what resonates, leave the rest. You're the master of your own reality. I just think that it's fun to guide each other home, to support each other, knowing that we're all empowered and sovereign and responsible as well. And I'm also aware of, how valuable things like conflict resolution are and communication and all that jazz. So let's get into it. Divine guidance. This is looking at the energetic collective imprint for April 8th and the great solar eclipse. So divine guidance and loving clarity. What are the highest most loving and benevolent messages for this collective and or anyone who's going to end up finding this video? Divine guidance and loving clarity. Hello. April 8th, 2024. That Ace of Pentacle came through an event I did recently, but it was on the March 25th. It was the Libra eclipse. And this new beginning, this pentacle energy is like a new business, taking a new job, right? Having a new opportunity presented to you, and it's more than likely financial, right? It's to do with the pentacle, it's to do with money, it's to do with physical resources. All I can see here are pentacles. So I'm like, for some of you, it's just the legit truth. You're focusing on your pentacle. You're focusing here too, and there's this Nine of Pentacles. I think you've maybe had a phase of putting the work in. Actually, some of you might have walked away from a Knight of Pentacles, Lover's reverse. You might be kind of walking away from something and just focusing on your own business. And also there's something here about like, okay, say we're in a love dynamic, friendship, or business relationship. Straight up, if there isn't clarity, if there isn't love, it will become imbalanced. So that, I think that's something about you looking ahead to another new beginning, or to take a new beginning, because this, you're like, I want to do it differently, And the Lover's energy here is actually like, with the Pentacles in the reverse, but the triumphant Lover's energy being upright, I feel like maybe someone you were dating really taught you a powerful lesson about like energetic exchange, and how regardless of like the tangible exchange of money, we're all always exchanging energy. So if we're energetically giving out to somebody who can't give back the same, not only will that be energetically draining, but legit, miraculously, that can drain our bank accounts. Right? If something's draining our energetic reserve, then that can impact our financial reality. So, Lovers, upright, let's get a card pull on the King of Wands. Manifestation and or somebody who's manifesting, somebody who's wanting to create. Again, this energy could be you because you're moving toward, I can't deal with people who don't tell the truth. If, say, like this is an employee, maybe you caught somebody stealing or what have you. But again, this is a triumphant recognition of your wisdom, of your power. And I think I'm getting a sense with the Ace of Pentacles too, of the fact that we can always start again. There looks like, I mean, we've got a Mercury retrograde. There looks like there's a new old love. So you guys are gonna, you're taking this beginning, you're looking out into the horizons, and then there's the Six of Cups. So and Mercury retrograde. So this could be somebody coming back from the past. Definitely. Strength card. This strength card in this deck to me too is romantic. It's like having strength, having faith, having commitment, of your own power. And presenting that power to the world, having the courage to shine, sort of thing. That very much reminds me of Leo with the sun and the lion there. Your strength and commitment is what brings balance into your life, not seeking it or finding it in other people. I do feel that with it being Aries and Libra axes with the eclipse seasons, especially with that Chiron there, I really, really feel like this eclipse portal is encouraging the collective to be autonomous, to be sustainably autonomous, so that we're not approaching our relationships from codependency. We're not approaching our relationships from a place of lack. As in, I can't do that thing for myself, so I'm going to use these other people and possibly lie to these other people to get my needs met, rather than, one, either just being able to look after ourselves, but I think there's always discernment here too, because we do need each other. And it's okay to have needs. We're like, you don't be needy. We all have needs, though. I think something that I'm really learning is that we have to, as adults, I think we can let children off the hook, but as adults, and that's something to remember, children model their parents. We all model. So once we come into adulthood, we can probably fully own the fact that things that our parents did or our siblings did, we're doing too. So part of healing a lot of that stuff is being honest, right? And clearly communicating, I need this. Are you able to fulfill that need? No? Okay. I'll move on. I'll ask somebody else. Or yes. Okay, great. But I think these sort of passive energetics are really, there's this Empress reverse, so I'm going to look at that. These passive type of energies are really wearing thin now, I think, for a lot of the collective. It's where ways of working, and these are progressive energies and or evolutionary energies, right? So, people talk about, or people do and have been, but there have been a lot of talk. This is spiritual awakening, this blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this has been ongoing probably since forever, like since ever the life of the human was seated on this planet. So, yeah, just kind of honoring the totality of your existence. I lost my train of thought. Let's get more energies here. Divine guidance and loving clarity. I am going to look at that Empress energy. What is that Empress energy coming in for? What's that Empress energy coming in for? And why is she in the reverse? Ooh. Yeah, there will be communication. For some of you, this is a Venetian female who maybe has been resisting change. There will be communication coming in. This could be an aunt, a sister, a mother, a daughter, maybe a daughter as well. The Tower reverse is often like resisting change. Not knowing that you have to make change, not making change. Plus, when the Empress is reverse, I'm like, this person could be lying. This person could be, yeah. But you're going to get communication from this person. I'd be mindful here. There's all reversals coming up. Be mindful of this energy somehow could maybe be connected to ships coming in, the messages. But it's reversed. I'm not sure, but the ships are here too. I think you might need some like time to reflect or contemplate with regards to this dynamic. That all the reversals, all the King of Cups, Knight of Cups, it's making me and then I see Three of Swords. This is making me think of like, yeah, somebody who's really hurt us, or yeah. So if they're coming back or if they're wanting to communicate, I would say maybe give yourself, definitely give yourself time to reflect. You know, classic, like when people reach out, we don't have to reply instantaneously. We can take time to digest. One thing I'm noticing too, the pain body reacts quickly. You know, the defensive structure of the ego will like defend against really quickly. It's usually how we know we're in a reaction, right? Versus a guided response and or conflict address for the purpose of resolution. It's difficult, you know, this stuff is really challenging. So there is some sort of return. Be mindful of people communicating, especially people maybe that you suspect are lying, or they're or okay, the other flip. Ooh, Shazam. The other flip that I'm getting, what card comes up here? Seven of Wands, defend against. So or you know, use your might. There's another King of Cups as well. Ten of Swords. So this is like the ending of a cycle. And again, you'll get communication, but the Empress being reversed, I'm like, this person might fear change. There could be a sense of like ego death for this person, Tower, like they're really, really holding on, but they're realizing like, what's the point? Because the communication is in the upright, and I think there is likely to be clarity within the situation, hopefully. And bear in mind, like sometimes some things need time to digest. I think there's something happening in the collective where it's like, just be mindful of like moving too quick towards something, or feeling like you have to make a decision. Do you know what I mean? Feeling like you have to move towards something that could potentially like become aggravated or hot. There's something about Mars happening. Mars and Saturn, I think, are conjuncting in the Pisces, and there's something about like water or waterborne illnesses and stuff like this that is just sort of warranting like being mindful. And for some reason, I'm getting that essence of like scratching a scab, or like you know, aggravating something that's already kind of itchy and aggravated with the fire ant. Some of you I think are maybe getting involved in something romantic as well. There's, again, this is part of it. We're in these eclipse seasons. Things are going to change, because what is not what is not changing, right? What is not changing? So we're simply living our lives, and with a slightly more awareness, maybe if you align with astrology, of the codes or the patterns of the stars. And so we know that especially big eclipses that have crossed in the last decade, boom, we can be fairly certain that some dynamic change is happening, you know, like, because when is life not changing? But the eclipses are probably, I would say, they would be deemed to be more radical, and perhaps changes that we know have been coming. Maybe we've seen it, or we've intuitively kind of sussed that, you know, with Aries and Libra, things that are out of balance, or yeah, things that are out of balance, relationships that make us feel like we can't be who we are. Mainly the kind of out of balance thing. But then if we can't be truly who we are, there's bound to be an imbalance or a kind of distortion on some level. So the North Node in Aries is just so powerfully permissioning us and or encouraging us to really be ourselves. And that means being honest. And I think that's the big, you know, heart-centered ask, is that like honesty is love. Being able to be honest. And I think it was holistic psychologists. They were talking about, you know, being, or what was it? Something about regulating our nervous system doesn't mean that we're like calm and stoic all the time. regulating our nervous system just means we have faith in, or we know in ourselves that we can deal with that emotion. Regulating means that when we get angry, we know we have to take a break and breathe and calm. When we, when things happen, when we get triggered and we start going to blame or start whatever, like, it's up to us to calm down. And then conflict resolution is our ability to communicate, right? And that's another layer of it, like recognizing that things like silent treatment or things like lying and secrets are all part of like dysfunctional family systems. So like when you're aware of those things going on, it's really, there's an aspect of having to look at things, having to address things. Hey, Jennifer. Midheaven Pinnacle for some of you. Oh my goodness. This, I almost want to say this came up, but I don't know if it came up exactly. So the Chiron energy structure. Be prepared, my lovers. Be prepared. This week, I think, could be very dynamic for some of you. This is also healing. For some of you, there's like healing around, so you can have a positive attention to be healing around your purpose in the world, the midheaven pinnacle, right? How you express yourself, how you show up in the world. That may have been going through changes, but we're in the belt now of this divine healing. Chiron to me is our ability to be who we are, because we're all wounded, right? Maybe not, but to a certain degree, I think what Chiron is representing is the wounded psyche, of the human consciousness. And so, and war is obviously a huge part of that woundedness. It's also a huge part of our trauma cycle as a species, right? Generationally speaking, a lot of us are inheriting trauma from war cycles and displacement and dysfunction, basically, from previous past cycles. So we're still working that. It's really kind of wild. So having that patience, being open to life, having positive intention, all of us, I think, in essence, are endeavoring to heal this Chiron just by being examples and being able to accept ourselves with our wounding. That's why the piece about authenticity is becoming so massive, because it's like, I noticed on the internet, so there's a lot of stuff going on in the music industry with the guy named Diddy. And then he's his potential affiliation with some darkness is connected to a lot of huge celebrities, which could really bring down some house of cards with regards to like people that everybody loves. And then figuring out that they're actually really not maybe doing things that we would expect, and that would be troubling if we really knew what was going on. And yet for over a decade, I've been sharing on the internet since like 2012. But that's why I propagate unplugging. I haven't watched TV. I don't engage with that. I don't agree. I believe part of our healing as a human consciousness is dissolving our idol worship. Just dissolving that kind of like grasping for this. As in thinking these people are somehow better than other musicians, or just because they have the mainstream. Because the House of Cards coming down is that there's like a hierarchical system of power and control and domination, whereby, unfortunately, some people that are at the top tier of the power play game are really, it's like they pull in magic of the dark, you could say, to manipulate people to do their bidding. So you could say that people getting to a certain level are having to act out or having to do certain things that most of us would probably not want to do, or would definitely find it to be absolutely horrific. But who knows? Who knows if any of these allegations are the legit truth? you know, again, we have to remember that we're just watching things on a screen, and that from here on out, especially with Neptune going in these end degrees, these next couple of years are gonna be crazy. As far as us as a species unpacking the truth, but also the like heavy-handed delusion. That's why things like presence, that's why things like having our personal sense of a spiritual practice, because being here now is really all we got. And that nowness really doesn't particularly, you know, come and I guess it's more like the presence isn't going to be found through information on a phone. The presence is right, like here in our hearts, in our minds, in our bodies. So the more I think we can be relating to actual humans in our reality, and harmonizing and resolving conflict, it's my greatest intention, right? When conflict arises, thing is as well, that's the tricky bit, is that most people often have habits of avoidance. They don't want to deal with conflict. They don't want to have to make amends. They don't want to have to own up to like things they did. And it's just, you know, who knows why. But then some of us, I think, have been taught to be really quite responsible and from an early age recognize that there's no point in continuing to lie. It's kind of like icky to be caught out doing something like that. And so that getting caught out energy trumps the potential of lying again in the future. And so sometimes I think there's energies of tough love, you know, where we might have to address really uncomfortable things, but we also know that we can't kind of, as in pretending's not going to heal anybody. Pretending and lying and yeah, secrets and lies, they're a big part of dysfunctional family systems. So if we're looking at those sorts of energies, our responsibility as a totality is to become authentic, to be able to face things, to be able to have difficult conversations. Yes, that might bring up a lot of reserves of guilt, that might make us feel really, really awful. I also want to remind us too that we have to kind of remember this thing about pain is pain, hurt is hurt, joy is joy. And so, you know, remembering that it's not like one person's pain is more important than another. It's not like the pain of somebody in one country is somehow less than the pain of somebody in another country, or because that person's abuse was less severe, there's somehow their pain is less valid. And I think that's something that's really interesting about the victimhood, right? Is that we'll create a situation sort in a sense sort of self-fulfilling, but we'll create a situation that really has an opportunity to force us to be responsible, but can also show us. So getting caught out, or when we have a blind spot, can often show us, you know, where we need to change a pattern, where we need to let go of guilt, where we need to, because like truly, like, you know, we come to adulthood, you know, you're not responsible. So coming into that true sense of self-responsibility, some of us are going to have to dig in and find a lot of strength. There's no doubt about it. Be open to life, be open to guidance, definitely be open to work and new beginnings here. The strength, or could be a commitment that you're wanting to make. And I would say with the Eight of Wands there, be willing to communicate. I think that's the biggest, pardon me. That's the biggest thing here, is like, be willing to communicate. You're healing your presence. You're healing your sense of purpose, right? I think some of you are walking away from imbalanced, well, some of you, I think a lot of people are going to be walking away from imbalanced situations, choosing more balanced situations here in a sense of strength, commitment, familiarity, kindness. Obviously kindness, right? It's like this thing when we excavate wounds, it's layers. I often get this infinity loop, just going round and round and round, looking at aspects of self, seeing this and then healing that, and seeing that and healing this. And it's like this real shift of suddenly going, wait a minute, I don't deserve, if we place ourselves as an innocent child, I don't deserve to be made, like, I don't deserve to feel guilty for being honest. I don't deserve to feel guilty. And in a sense, when we're avoidant, when we refuse to communicate, don't communicate, or give people silent treatment, those are, though, like, and there's a difference between reacting and avoiding and being present. There's a difference, right? Being present means we have the ability to work through ourselves and possibly in the imagination, heart center, forgive, let go, make amends within self. That makes the actual addressing of things or the resolution of conflict much easier. But when we are avoiding and cyclically, sort of almost addictively holding on to a pattern where we're blaming other people for how we feel, we're righteously, but then, yeah, basically I realize I've increasingly become so aware of just how delusional the pain body is. I know it's so difficult. It's kind of really weird to stomach, but like, we get addicted almost. Like we kind of wear our discordant energies as a badge. Like we can wear our hello, what, hey Kurt, hi Jennifer. I see Scott there. I'm not sure that he's live with us though, but yeah. So recognize that guilt and shame, these are energies that might come up. We might be making huge changes, right? Which warrant, oh God. But then once we move through it, and this is the thing, what I write about is like, the thing is, like, we will keep attracting the same energetic patterns, be it chaotic, be it poverty, whatever, until that thing, that root, that energetic, or that is projecting that thing is uprooted. And I'm just talking from experience, is that we might go through one cycle and think we're good to go, and then a new life cycle starts, and then there's a whole new Shazam of wonderful healing to endeavor. Generationally speaking, though, I'm aware that there's definitely a big collective shift energetically, or I don't mean energetically, I mean to say generationally. So you could say the boomer generation, I have no idea as far as how that is going to outwork, but like there's a huge upgrade with regards to how much we can heal. But this generation also knows that you're not going to be able to force the higher ups generation. So there's a sense of loving acceptance just for where people are. But it also is a shift of power where the next generation is going to start to come into power. And that's also where we're going to see leadership that's not going to tolerate old divisive structures, but also the fact that the war cycles that are going on right now are culminating into an energetic kind of reflective shift. So these are all building and escalating, but bearing in mind the energetics of these wars have been seeded. Like they're sometimes in our awareness, we think it's new, or we think that this is like, oh my God, it's so awful. It is awful. But these wars that we're in are not out of nowhere. They're not new. Really, for thousands of years, the collective consciousness has been at war, which means like we, the being on this planet, are in battle with self, which is why people are calling it a spiritual battle. It's not my power, it's the power of an external God, and so we're all fighting with ourselves to kind of conquer the God that we place outside, because that's a distortion, because it's within us, it's in our heart, it's in our mind, it's in our totality of expression is the godly essence, right, or the divinity of Christ, versus denying the essential power, trying to put it outside of self, and then constantly seeking it outside of self where it is not. Seek and you shall never find. right? Once we find it in self, we can embody the projected regenesis versus the base tone of fear and division, which for a lot of us that speak to this sort of stuff, that's what we're outworking. False economy is a projection of our lack outside of self that we all have to chase and try to get, versus integrating that falsity to become the wealth, to become the regenesis. So we become the well-being, we become the healthy, safe spaces, we become that which we're seeking, right? And the more of us endeavoring that work and becoming and becoming and becoming, the more people will transform in almost instantaneous measures, because the collective frequency is rising to the point that more and more and more people are going to be able to shift quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker, because the awakening perspective is permeating the field, right? This, for example, someone like myself, this awareness that I share on this channel, I've had since I was 19 years old because of my awakenings. But it wasn't in my body. It was like a in my mind that has taken all of these years, last 15 years or whatever, to like disseminate and integrate and hold. And then also over those 20 years, you know, I would try to have conversations with people back then about this stuff, and people would just be like, or worse, like, you crazy, you know? Here we are 20 years later, loads of people talk about astrology. It's really quite kind of open. Loads of people talking about spiritual awakening. Loads of people, my thing was paradigm shift. I had a spiritual insight around the times of my awakenings that there was a paradigm shift happening on the planet. And even though my fellow students didn't really care or know what I was talking about, I remember another professor went to the uni bar, and a professor was like, that's it. And I think I was affirmed. It's like something in me was like, I know something, and I'm going to trust that. I'm going to follow that. And really part of and that's why I preach about intuition, because in my life trajectory, especially, I'm thinking of two specific times. One's not leaving a situation. Well, actually both in that regard, but one specific was like denying. Intuition was I went to meet up with somebody, and my intuition was like, get out. And I kept the good girl kept rationalizing, no, stay. I've made a plan. No, you don't want to bail. Well, that night was one of the most dangerous and terrifying nights of my life. And then denying intuition, bad stuff can happen. And then if we deny intuition when we're in a cycle, that cycle will get worse and worse. It's like cycles of abuse tend to get worse and worse before the pattern breaks, until we own it and shift it, right? So there's an element of these sorts of energies. Own it, transform it. And if that's not your prerogative, and or if that's not within your capacity because it's to do with somebody else, have distance, walk away, whatever it might be, right? We're not needing to carry the guilt with us. So stuff that makes us guilty, we can transform. Some of you are going to get communication from an Empress reverse. So a female energy. They might have a tower moment, or they're maybe communicating to you something that brings about tower moment, but I feel like this is more relevant to them. So this person is about to have a tower moment, is maybe having a tower moment, and this might sound weird, but they might be having a tower moment and they don't even necessarily realize. So I'm like, don't worry, they're gonna communicate. There's this Eight of Wands is communication. Maybe for some of you might communicate, but I'm getting their energy coming into your energy, and I think this is part of your positive intention and your destiny. There's a soulmate energy here as well, so some of you could be inviting in new love or past love that is going to become something, or getting involved with a friend. All right, my lovers, I'm going to leave it there. Ships coming in. Some of you, there's ships coming in. I'd be really, really aware of people that make you feel bad about yourself. And then be willing to go your own way. Remember that song? You can go your own way. Go your own way. You can go your own way, my lovers. This is the thing about manipulation. It's annoying. It's subtle. We want to believe people, right? But just be aware of things that kind of That energy too, you know, we're like, that's often, I would say, a symptom of long-standing abuse or complex post-traumatic stress, which is the result. So complex post-traumatic stress versus post-traumatic stress, the only difference is that complex post-traumatic stress means that you've been repeatedly abused, repeatedly psychologically, emotionally abused, shut down, neglected, whatever it might be. And so you're like, what is life? You know, who am I in this life? Because somehow I thought I was only right here for a specific, you know, this thing, and that thing isn't even true. So basically focus on your pinnacle, focus on the people you love and trust, and focus on love and strength. Everything else I think is going to just come to you or like manifest in front of you in the moment. And then also the Chiron energy is here with purpose, where I almost want to say as well, the collective purpose right now is to heal. That's it. The collective purpose for all of us is to heal. And we could deny, we could avoid all we like. But the Tower of Reverse to me is often, this is happening whether we like it or not. These karmic loops, this paradigm shift, this capacity to heal and become more authentic and more empathic human beings, this is where we're at. I kind of realized as well energetically, I was like, oh my God, it's like when the pandemic struck. Personally in my life, it was like that was an end of a timeline, and the pandemic was like this clearing up all the karma that we can't take into the new timeline. These eclipses are the kind of stamps or the portals that are taking us into a new timeline. Because 2017 was like opening the door. That's when that first eclipse went through. So we're like opening the door. So then we're walking through that door. Bosh, stop. No, we have karma to sort out. We've got collective karma, personal karma. It's all the same, really. Right? Power structures, distortions. Pluto's moving into Aquarius. We're becoming more aware of all these things, blah, blah, blah. And then here we are at that eclipse, 4 years or, well, cycles, right? Cycles of time, cycles of energy. And that's just part of it, is that cycle is coming into another completion. And so we're now letting go of a lot of the karmic attachments, and again, with Aries and Libra nodal axis, this is a lot to do with relationships, karmic relationships, people, places, things that we've been bound to for possible lifetimes, right? It's always uncomfortable. But then I just think of like, what is life? You know, you fall, you scrape your knee, it hurts. You know, you recognize that maybe we've been in denial about something. It hurts. It's okay. That's the part of pain. That's again, the biggest thing I have to share is like, if we deny our emotions, we're perpetuating pain. If we avoid having difficult conversations, we're perpetuating pain. If we can communicate honestly, if we can face people, if we can be vulnerable, if we can be honest, if we can put our hands up, if we have an earnest desire to understand ourselves, the other person, the situation, there's always going to be a pathway through. And if we don't, then we don't. But fundamentally, those energetic patterns don't change when we don't do the inner work. That the person might change, like as in, we might attract another job, but we're going to face the same issues. We might attract another lover, but we're going to attract the same issues, right? So it's our inner energetic outpouring that we're looking at, rather than micromanaging our external reality to try to like fix this person and get this person to do what I want them for me, or this person makes me look good, so I'm gonna, you know, it's just sort of like gacky. And that's, again, I write this in the book. Could we become a species that our point of attraction is about what can I give? What can I give? How can I serve? Rather than what can I get? And what can people do for me? You know? And that's like that celebrity shit. I mentioned that Diddy hip hop person. But then there's a whole bunch of videos about Jenny from the Block, Jennifer Lopez. And it's just, I don't know. This is what I mean about, because even before all this come out, I was like, you can sometimes feel stuff, but also We're all just human. And it's great. People in the Hollywood industry are talented. Musicians are talented. Yay, brilliant. Yay, have talent. But if behind the scenes you're like really bitchy and mean to people, who cares about your talent in a sense, you know? It's like, anyway, these celebrities are getting some shtick from people. And this is what people call disclosure. This is what people call veils being lifted. Suddenly the illusions, right? Because this is how the media machine is set up. These people go to interviews and all these interviews are designed to manipulate and put their character out to us in a certain way. Some is true, I'm sure, and some is not. But I think it's time for us all to kind of take the pill, as it were. Yeah, what's it called? Like the Matrix pill, you know? And awaken to our power. And that's the profundity and the divinity of healing. And I could always have so much compassion for people. It's not easy. I'm somebody who believes the body can alchemize through emotional processing. And in my experience, I've been in shadow work process for over 10 years. I almost like, I'm sorry that it can't happen for you in 2 weeks. As in, or I'm sorry that that's not the message I can share. That I know how to fix all your problems and you can do it in a second. That's not been my experience, so that's not what I can sell. What I can sell is that when you start doing inner work, it's going to be a relentless, painful crises after crises. You know, like, but weirdly, I can safely say I wouldn't have it any other way. And I know, even though it's been all this emotional work, I know in my beingness and my soul that I'm better off than if I had just denied, stayed in patterns that I didn't want to be in because they were safe. Or rather, they appeared safe. They appeared safe. Oh, job security, that's an illusion, you know. It's all temporary, illusory kind of reflections in cycles where we're learning about ourselves and we're learning about the patterns we exhibit through the inner workings of our mind, which that's connected to the collective mind. I think that's part of the beautiful paradox of this human experience. We are that. That is us. We're universe in a body, and we're a body, you know, seeing the universe. It's just the fucking most miraculous, incredible, radical, gnarly thing, right? And a lot of us, I think, here want to have a good time with it. It's annoying, though, because I know, and then I'm going to say this just to put a lovely damper on it. I'm like, but in my experience, discipline is what leads to that level, to the ability to be joyful. And ideally, obviously, discipline from a loving place. I'm you know, these discernments around energies, we're disciplining our mind, right? So happy solar eclipse. I hope that you enjoyed the reading, you guys. Feel free to join the Patreons for ad-free first access and a bit of exclusive content. I found myself every few weeks sharing little channeled messages and guided meditations. And if you scroll back, you'd be able to access some yoga videos and just like little bite-sized kind of self-care things. And then these readings, and I asked the patrons if we want to go live more or what have you. And I've asked you guys, and I think it was possibly one of you, but somebody did reply like, yay, let's go live again. So I'm kind of into it. Or maybe I'll just do a live share for the lunations or for certain celestial events, because I actually was doing that in 2017. I started doing like I started doing the monthly updates, and from time to time I would do like a little collective share around the lunation. So I might get back into that. Anyway, you guys, have an awesome eclipse. May peace be with you all. Thanks, Aunt TV. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, you do remember that. See, it's so cool. We've been internet friends for such a long time, and I must say to all of you, to Scott as well, because Scott was there. He messaged probably once I shared the link, but before I come live. So, yeah, I really appreciate you guys. It's like I'm hearing that thing of like ride or die, you guys, ride or die. But there's enough resonance here, and again, it's been years, and it's just really groovy to have this community, like, and increasingly, just thank you for being friends, and thank you for reflecting things to me, and the appreciation and the thanks. It's always a two-way street, my universe. It's not 100%, but it looks like I'm going to be opening up a space here to do yoga with locals, and to just have like a community space, basically, where I can run around and do whatever the F I want. You see, what's a big yoga space, right? So I'll be able to hang things from a big checkout. Check it. You see these? MJ's gonna get those out, and I'm gonna be roller skating in my own space, and doing yoga, and just having fun with people, having some dance parties and such things. Okie dokie. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. My heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. Boom, boom, boom. And if you threw a party, I don't know the words, but I love you guys so much. Have a happy eclipse. Thank you for being here. Look after yourselves. Prime time. I need to reiterate that for some reason. It's prime time. Look after yourselves so that you can look after other people, right? Oh, God, please. Let's pray for everybody. Let's just imagine the world is a happy, joyful, loving place. Let's imagine that the healers and leaders really care about each other as one, as I want to say brethren, as a collective, as a community, on this beautiful planet. I think that's a trigger for a lot of us in the awakening spirit. Is actually, like, for me, there was one bit was a sunset that was just so exquisite. It like hit me in the heart, and I started to cry, and I literally, in that was a huge piece of the awakening, because in that moment there was a recognition of the unity. Like, I knew I was one with the sun, and it was like, well, look at me, just 20 years later, 20 more. This is 22, 23 years later, and I'm still just reeling from that knowingness that we are that, More beauty in the world. Okay, you guys, thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Have a great eclipse portal, and let me know in the comments. Let me know what chaos is ensuing in your reality. And I'll continue to share mine. That's the thing too, of like, I'm an introvert, so it can be quite easy to be like, I'll just stay in my house and so yeah, it's really interesting when it's all kicking off, and it doesn't matter how much we isolate, it's whatever it's gonna kick off, right? So anyway, not to scare you all. Have a great eclipse, you guys. Have a wonderful week ahead. I'll look forward to seeing you. Thanks for your feedback as always. Have a good one. Much love. Peace out.